Hey, what's going on, everybody? We're here with Rob today, and we're gonna play some Band Spirits in Pioneer. What's up, Rob?
Hey, not much, Rocker. How are you doing today?
I'm good. So we're gonna play some spirits, but Rob is gonna talk a little bit about blue-white versus our band lists, and we might run some blue-white in the future. So let's take it away, Rob.
Well, so the big difference between Bant and Blue White, besides obviously the mana base, is Bant tends to be more of a straight aggressive deck with tempo elements.
Okay.
So you still have things like the Nebelgas Herald, the Spell Queller, but you actually have raw card advantage in the form of Collected Company.
Mm-hmm.
Blue White is a pure tempo deck. They don't get access to the Collected Company, but instead of that, we get a more diverse sideboard that doesn't have to rely on or take into account the collected companies there. We get to
Yeah.
run main deck actual spells.
Yeah.
Um, but being a pure tempo deck, it relies on things like virtual card advantage. So how you sequence things becomes infinitely more important in blue white. And you don't have the explosiveness of Bant though.
Oh, okay. And I see. That's a very good point that I didn't really think about. How the sideboard can have more instant sorceries, kind of like how my sideboard right now. I'm kind of scared of running too many. Like instead of a seal away, I'm playing permeating mass. Instead of two rest in peace, I'm playing a remorseful cleric because you really don't want to blank on a Coco in game 2 and 3 if you bring in a bunch of instant sorcery, right?
Mm-hmm.
And instead of another removal for a flyer, I have a Crawl Harpooner and Deputies instead of Teferi Time Reveler. And I think actually Time Reveler is probably strictly. It's pretty. I think it's strictly a better card most of the time because it's so hard to deal with it. Like, there's so many times when my Deputy of Detention gets just bolted, or pushed. It's so easy to take care of Deputy, but I do see if I do see how if I run Teferi in a Coco deck, I might miss on the Coco, right?
Yeah. I don't know if I would say Teferi is strictly better than Deputy. Deputy is amazing in any kind of like tokens matchup you have,
Oh yeah, you got that
or
two
especially
for
if you're
one.
dealing with like the blue white or the white black auras deck.
Yeah,
It Deputy can be amazing there. Whereas excuse me, um, Teferi may or may not. Um,
yeah,
they're different cards, but they do
true.
fill the same slot. And yeah, you have to run the Deputy because you're running Collected Company.
Yeah. And what do you feel about Curious Obsession? It allows blue white to maybe grind a little better. I guess Collected Company is a good grind card too because it's a 2 for 1, but Obsession can be like a 3 for 1 over a very grindy long match.
I'm personally actually not a fan of Curious Obsession in the blue white lists.
Uh huh.
Um, Curious Obsession is an aggressive card.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get a 1 drop into Curious Obsession in a way to protect your 1 drop on turn 2 and then start getting cards. And that's a very aggressive game plan. Whereas Blue White Spirits isn't always looking to establish that aggressive board. Um, Many times your play pattern in Blue White is you want to go like turn 1 Mausoleum Wanderer, turn 2 play land pass, and then you're looking to hold up your rattle chains to flash it in,
Yeah.
or maybe Mystical Dispute their turn 2 play
Yeah.
if it's applicable.
By the way,
Um,
can you see my screen here?
I can. I
Okay.
am
Cool.
floating back between a few different screens, but yeah.
Great.
So your blue white list, you're really looking to not commit anything to the board on turn 2.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now, if your only play is like a Selfless Spirit, of course you're going to put it down if that's your only 2 drop. But
Yeah.
ideally, you're looking to hold mana up and getting that rattle chains on your opponent's end step,
Yeah.
or flash it in response to some instant or
Oh
sorcery they
yeah.
cast to counter it with your Mazwander is huge.
That's the
Um,
best. It's the best
mhm.
feeling. Okay. Cool. And let's see. What about this guy here?
Ojutai's command.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not a big fan of Ojutai's command. Um, I cut my teeth on spirits in modern,
Mm-hmm.
and 4 mana is a lot in a deck that I myself still try and play 21 lands. And my build of blue white spirits. So 4 mana is a lot. Um, it's a bounce effect that we already get with Brazen Borrowers. The gaining life, I don't like main decking that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Most creatures we don't care about because we're flying over them.
Yeah.
And then a 4 mana draw card and do something else, like it cashes itself back in. It's just, to me, I'm super medium on it.
Uh-huh.
Um, I would rather, um, like, going off the list you're looking at, I probably, like, where the Ojutai's commands are, I have Nebelgas Heralds in my deck. Um, just because I like being when I do something, I like also committing something to the board. So like the
Right.
counter the creature planned on Ojutai's command,
Yeah.
I can just let it resolve and then tap it down with a Nebelgas Herald, and I'm
Right.
still up a mana.
Yeah. And you can
Um,
attack with someone.
exactly, and that tapping the creature down kind of just gained me the 4 life as well.
Yeah,
So
that's right. Yeah, that's a good point.
I like the virtual card advantage game more than the I'm gonna counter your thing and draw a card game. It's
Uh-huh.
just my personal preference.
Yeah. Very interesting. And what do you feel about? I've been kind of on the fence about how Brazen Borrower doesn't get pumped by what's his name?
Supreme Phantom.
Yeah, Supreme Phantom.
So that's definitely rough. But in like gut call, I'd say probably like 70% of your matches, flying essentially means unblockable. It's already got 3 power.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest creatures that you're gonna play anyway,
Yeah,
and
three
it does get
toughness.
pumped by Empyrean Eagle.
Yeah.
So just chunking in for 3 a turn on a card that already bounced something, like I love Brazen Borrower. Um, I
So yeah.
honestly think Brazen Borrower should be a 4 of.
Uh-huh.
Again, I play 21 lands, and I don't main deck any Mystical Disputes or Ojutai's commands. So I have Nebelgas Heralds and Brazen Borrowers in my deck, and I just I love the play pattern of affecting your board while developing mine.
Yeah.
Because that's that virtual card advantage that gets me just enough ahead that I can kill you before you come back from what I did.
Yeah. And what do you feel about collected company hitting Brazen Borrower? I guess you don't get the petty theft, the instant half, but it's still
Correct.
a good hit, right? Potentially.
Yeah, it's still a
Still a
3 mana
free.
beater in the air.
Yeah.
Um, and it's the biggest creature when you don't have a lord in your deck. So chunking in for 3 mana a turn is as good. That's a good clock.
Yeah. So looking at my lists in right now, I see in terms of the main board, I'm thinking maybe I cut one spectral for a brazen borrower, or maybe two of these to try in the future. What do you feel?
So with Bant, again, you're that aggressive deck. You're just trying to get a bunch of creatures out and punch your opponent until they die. Especially, um, you have those elements of the tempo,
Uh huh.
but your primary game plan is to just beat face and get the game over with.
Yeah.
Uh, Part of that is developing. You need that critical mass of 1 drops. You can cut them post board match, and I definitely think you need some Brazen Borrow in your board.
Uh huh.
But I don't know if I would main deck them in Bant, just
Right.
because getting that turn 1 creature out, even if it's just a Spectral Sailor,
Yeah.
which is the weakest creature in the deck, but I think in Bant, um, Spectral Sailor is marginally better than Brazen Borrower, just to main deck to fulfill that aggressive game plan.
Right. Very interesting. So, what about the rest of our list? Do you have any other
Um,
suggestions?
so looking at your list, I would say, um, I think the other rest in peace. See, it's rough. This is one of the reasons I like blue white over Bant, because you don't have to have a Coco sideboard. Um, Me personally, I've always had a hard time of figuring out where to draw the line in the sideboard with creatures and spells. Because like Rest in Peace is an amazing white sideboard card, and you definitely want to run that in any deck that can run it. But you can't hit Rest in Peace off Coco, so is the second Remorseful Cleric better? I don't know. Someone more knowledgeable than me could probably answer that question, but I think it looks fine. Um, I don't know if maybe like part of me wants to suggest like the possibility of Swan Song, but Swan Song's rough instead of a null because it puts that 2/2 in the air and you just don't a flyer.
Swan song.
Single blue instant counter target, um,
Yeah. Enchantment.
enchantment, instant, or sorcery.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't hit the artifacts, but it's still it hits the enchantments, which I think is a big part. But then it
Uh-huh.
also has play against instants and sorceries, which a null doesn't hit.
Yeah.
Um, so maybe that, but probably not because a 2/2 flyer is big game against us.
Yeah. Because we have a lot of 2 toughness too, like in even after a lord's on the field.
Yeah, after Lord or before Lords, there's 2 creatures that don't die to a 2/2. After Lords, there's still only 2 creatures that don't die to a 2/2.
Yeah. Cool.
So yeah, Swan Song's big game against us, but
Mm-hmm.
hitting instants and sorceries might be relevant. Not sure, but I think it looks fine.
Yeah. Why don't we get into a league with this list, and then we can always change it after this league.
Cool, cool.
Cool.